What's up? What's up, everybody out there in Radio Lounge? How are you tonight? This is Doc Val coming to you live every Wednesday night on Power 1017. And we are Brown Sugar Confessions, talking to you about love and relationships and sex and any old thing we want to talk about, because we are Brown Sugar Confessions. Miss T, what's up with you?
Oh man, it's Aries season and I just had a birthday.
Woohoo! Happy birthday to you.
Hey. But outside of that, nothing really has been going on with me. So I'm just trying to enjoy my special day and just hopefully survive the pollinating, which is currently going on in Atlanta right now. We just had a storm that washed some of the pollen out of the sky, and then a new set of pollen came out of everywhere.
It's that time. It is that. It's allergist time, right? Or Claritin time. It is for real, right?
Yeah.
KD, what's up with you, love, in Wilmington, Delaware?
Hello, Radio Land. It's so good to see you ladies and to talk to everyone on the radio. It's been a lot of rain, so I haven't had a lot of problems with pollination season yet, but the flowers are out there and it's just been raining every other day, I swear. Has everyone else been experiencing that? Like every other day, it is raining. So, it's my season. We're about to be out of Aries season here in a week or so. And then it's going to be the bulls, the running of the bulls. Like we are on our way. We're on our way. So, I'm one of the first bulls that they let out of the ring. So I'm ready. I'm getting ready for this. So planning some travel here in the near future. Miss T doesn't know it yet, but I might do a pop-up on her. So we have some things planned. I'm excited.
Yeah. Nice. I love to hear it. And the beautiful Treese down there from New York. What is up with you tonight, love?
I am freezing my tuchus off.
Oh no.
I'm not even gonna lie. It's cold. And I'm sad. But not for like bad reasons. I'm sad because I'm hungry and nobody brought me a dang sandwich. Oh. But it's
cold and hungry.
It's cold. I'm hungry. I'm over here sipping some cocktails, and just hanging out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really excited to see y'all. I missed you.
Oh, we missed you. We've missed you guys. I tell you, it's so crazy when we don't. It's been we missed you guys from last week, but here we are again. But I miss you guys. And hey, by the way, people out there, Radio Land, don't forget to email us at brownsugarconfessions@gmail.com. Keep those emails going because they keep us going. Talk to us about your relationships, your sex. We want to talk about it and share it on the air because you never know. We might just read your whole email that you share with us. So please keep them coming. So, Teresa, I'm sorry, love. I cut you right off. What else is going on with you down there?
Nothing, but I really have a question for y'all. Okay, so, everybody's done a think piece about the topic we're about to speak on. I want to know, because I value your input. What do y'all think? And people are calling it a plethora of things. I'm not calling it any of that. I'm going to say, what do y'all think about that open hand frontward slap that happened at the Oscars?
Oh, we talking about this? Yes. Yes, we're talking about this. First of all, can I go first?
Yes.
Okay. Please. A lot of people are saying this is like the worst thing to happen at the Oscars. Was it the Oscars or the Grammys? This ain't
Oscars.
Oscars. This ain't the worst thing that happened to the Oscars. This is just probably like the most blackish thing you've seen at the Oscars. But I will tell you like this, from what I saw, because at first I thought it was a joke because I just started seeing it come on my timeline. Like, what the heck are they doing? Like, what's going on? Is it a skit or something? Then realize like, oh, it's real. I think what happened, one, Will got tired. He was mentally already tired of everybody talking about him and Jada. And then when that joke happened, he's his brain kind of like flipped, like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He started to do what he was about to do, and I think somewhere midway he realized where he was at and just kind of like held back. So I think it was supposed to be a punch. I don't think it was supposed to be a slap. But that's just me.
I see it differently. So, do you guys remember like the old school like Looney Tunes or even just, I challenge you to a duel? To me, it really looked like he grabbed the white glove and it was like, I challenge you to a duel. It was the most sophisticated smack I had seen in a very, very long time. And I like to watch those smacking competitions. So this was definitely not one of those slapping competition smacks. This was a very sophisticated smack. So to me, I felt like it was very purposeful. He knew what he was doing. He was very, maybe not clear of mind, but at that moment he could have floored him. Yeah. But he chose to keep it very withheld. And it was more like, look, have some respect. So I feel like that was definitely a very held back kind of a smack. Definitely. So, I think that the whole thing, I think he thought about it for a second and he made a decision. Like that wasn't nearly as like a emotional thing as people are giving it. Mm-hmm. I believe he sat and he thought about it and he was like, you know what? No, I'm tired. Let's do this.
Straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm-hmm. It did. The slap that went around the world.
I just want to say this thing real quick. Mm-hmm. First, this ain't the first time that Chris had dissed Jada.
Not at all. No,
live.
It's not.
No, he's done it quite a few times live. He's made her the butt of jokes to the entire world. This is like the third or fourth time he's done this.
Oh.
On top of that, this is a Black man that made a movie about Black women and their hair. Mm-hmm. You should know better. You should know better. You knew what you were doing. You thought, let me clown this. Yeah. Let me clown this woman real quick and get my little ha-has and he-he's in front of the room of our peers. Let me belittle her. Let me abuse her. And I'm going to tell you right now, hey, I'm not even going to pretend like I have not been violent. I say it with the cutest of dimples. But when you get pushed to a certain point, things happen. Like, and you can't say like, I don't deserve that response. No, because you've been doing this over and over and over again. Your intent does not the impact does not match the intent. Like, you don't get to tell somebody how they should feel. Like, it was just, for me, I didn't see nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna be completely honest. I fully expect my dudes to bring that thunder fire if anybody ever talks about my boho locks.
I will say that at least you know that he stood up for her. Like, it might not have been in the best of ways, but he stood up for her. And I think in terms, I'm not going to say like it's a right or wrong thing, but at least in terms, he loves her. If he's willing to go through that, because at the end of it all, that's a very embarrassing experience when you go back and think about it.
It is very embarrassing.
And he took that for her. That's love.
He did. He took that for her. So can I share y'all with a story real quick? Can I tell you something? Okay. So I was out and about. You guys know I was in Tahiti. If y'all haven't been on, go to YouTube right now, because I am like Tahitian Brown. The son did the girl right. But anyway, let me keep moving on. So I'm in Tahiti and we're on this ship at one point. We were there for a month. And, my husband and I were having a good time. We're partying up. So this one guy comes up to me and I'm dancing, having a good time. You know how I get. I'm in it when I'm dancing. So he comes up to me. He's like, nah, you're so beautiful. I think you're just amazing. And he's all like 30 something, right? Young boy, right? I'm just like, you don't even know. I got underwear over you, but we'll keep it dancing. I'm just going. So
I heard that.
Yes. I'm just saying. So my husband's at the bar and I see him keeping his eye on me. That's just what my husband does. And at one point when I'm getting in my groove, he's like, I want to take you around the world and I want to do all this with you. I'm like, oh yeah, take me around the world. As the beats drop in and I'm like in it. He's like, yeah, I want to give you some ketamine. I'm like, so what?
Wait, what?
Some what? Some ketamine. I was
What?
like, well, Jesus, what's ketamine? then he says, yeah, I just want to take you around the world, and I'm going to microdose you with a little acid and some ketamine. I was like, oh, husband.
Oh,
husband.
Oh no.
Seriously, right? My eyes, I'm like old, right? Old school. My eyes got as big as my big forehead. And I was like, is that a drug? He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna make you feel good. And I'm just gonna have you in that moment of ecstasy for hours. And I was just like, a GERD at the bar. I gotta go to the bar right away, right? So I go to my husband and I tell him what had just happened. And he says, and my husband's a big old burly German guy. And he says, and I was like, I got it. It shook me for a minute. I'm gonna go back and tell him, go jump, just to get out of my face. Gerd's like, no, you sit here. I got it. And I'm like, oh. I was like, are we going to have a Will and Jada all over again? Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this hadn't happened yet. So he actually walks up to this guy and very, I guess, gentlemanly, I don't know, because I was told not to come over there. He tells him that if he even gets close to me on this ship, he's going to throw him overboard. And I said, he came back, Teresa down there clapping. He came back and told me what he said. I tongued him down. I was like, get in the cabin right now. I felt so good that my husband checked this punk right then and there. I mean, he didn't hit him. He just told him, don't come near my wife for the next 9 days or I will throw you overboard. Then he goes and tells like the charter owner and the captain. He got in a lot of trouble for that because no drugs on a cruise ship. Right. Zero policy.
Yeah, so that sounds really dangerous otherwise. Like
it was, right? Yes.
Okay, what?
Yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Ketamine and acid.
Can't people die from that? Like, you don't need that on a cruise ship.
First of all, how did he make it on the cruise ship with it?
With it. Exactly.
Well, it's not like they have drug sniffer dogs. Like, that's ketamine. Like
he was in another country. He was in another country with this. This wasn't the U.S. He had to go through many. Trust me, he had to go through a lot to get to Tahiti. He came from Florida. I was just like, oh,
he got them Florida-isms. Oh no.
Yeah, so
I'm telling you,
that explains. That literally explains everything.
So there's no telling what that man did to get that over there.
I no telling, but it made me feel so good that my husband actually took up for me. I felt like, wow, I felt loved. I felt protected. Mm-hmm. And I loved that he told me to stand down because I'm like, I'm not, don't tell me what to do. But he said, stand down or I'll throw you. Then he came back and he says, if you even get close to him, I'll throw you overboard with him. I was like, ooh.
I would have tested that theory, but that's the brat in me.
No. So I get that how it could have made Jada feel amazed and powerful that her husband took up for her. I'm not about violence. I don't believe in that. I don't think that was the way to go. But I get a man taking up for his wife and protecting her physical body and protecting her honor. And why shouldn't you, right? That's just my old school opinion. So I guess there's 2-2. Me and Teresa the same way. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but send us your emails. Let us know what you think about that because it's still a hot topic. Everyone is still talking about it from here to eternity. Today, I saw something on Twitter that they're going to press charges against Will. I'm like, he just gave him a B slap.
Seriously.
Really?
Seriously. Considering all the other things that have happened during the Oscars, this is where you get the police involved?
Exactly. Now you're going to get the police involved and he got B slapped. Let's really, it's not that severe. If you're going to sanction him or do something, there's been so many people are always making a stand at the Oscars. Mm-hmm, That's where you make the stand, right? The Ukrainian president came on. He made a stand. His country's at war, but he took the time to make a stand. Will took a stand for his wife. That's what I'm going to say about that. The Oscars are known to. What's that Marlon Brando, when he had the Native American come on.
Yeah, he went up there and literally just started harassing them.
Right. He didn't even come on the Oscars. He sent her on the Oscar, a Native American woman talking about indigenous land, whatever. So that's where people take a stand. And he took a stand for his wife, and he took a stand for those that have suffered from a disease such as alopecia. You know what? I get it. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all write in and cuss us out, but anyway, we're going to move on. All right.
Well, real quick, before just a couple of things that did get overshadowed from that whole situation. One, our favorite person, Samuel L. Jackson, finally got an Oscar.
Yay!
It did not get shown, but he finally got one.
He did.
And then on top of that, like there was so many people from the black Hollywood community that were consoling them after it happened. Mm-hmm. They don't talk about that.
Right.
But I feel like also in terms of like when we're going into things about, you know, black on black violence and how the black community resolves these issues, that should have been put out. It shouldn't be like all this condemnation. People took the moment to heal that movement, and it never got addressed.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Very true. All right. So those are the hot topics that everyone's talking about right now. And of course, you know, we have a new Supreme Court Justice. So everyone give her a huge clap. Whoop, 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 whoop. Miss Brown, way to do it. Mrs. Brown, right? Way to do it. Way to be, represent. And talking about Supreme Court, not that it ties into what we're talking about. We want to finish up a conversation we had last week where we spoke about blended marriages and how to blend a family. I know we didn't get into the meat and potatoes because we ran out of time. And I hope that we can get into it today and talk about how to blend a family. What is a blended family? Because that was a question I got, actually, the email. They're like, what's a blended family? So it's when a couple that is divorced and or separated decide to take themselves along with their children and cohabitate into one house. And they're considered a blended family. So you're taking individuals from one group and individuals from another group, put them together with their kids, and boom, everyone's blended. But it's not always a really smooth ride. So let's jump in and talk about a little about how to blend a family together. So the first thing I want to get on about blending a family is you have to have communication. I think everyone knows that, right? And talk about the challenge and the change that's going to happen when you have a blended family. And what do I mean by the challenges? You know, imagine if you've got all teenagers. That must be crazy to have your teenage children who are already crazy. You know your own kids. And then you've got someone else's teenage kids that are coming in. And then you've got 2 sets or 3 sets of teenage kids all together. That probably is an amazing testament to a blended family. Have any of y'all experienced that at all? I'm just curious.
I haven't, only because I'm an only child. But I guess this is kind of going to be a very strange question I'm going to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
What if one kid from the family starts crushing on the kid from the other family? Like, is that something that is discussed, you know, among the parents to try to prevent that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so if you're listening out there to us, send the answer into Miss T. Yeah. And I've heard that, you know, it happens a lot because they met, they don't know each other, they're not tied together by any love or family connection. They're just now cohabitating together, and that those feelings can come up among the kids. And some kids I have known, even with clients, have acted out on those feelings. And that can actually cause some more problems in the family. So I think that perhaps they should speak about that and have that discussion. What do you guys think? That's a good point, Ms. D.
Ooh, I mean, outside of the movie Cruel Intentions, this one I honestly never thought about.
Oh, I forgot about that movie. That was a great movie.
But yeah, I think it's definitely good to talk about it, because a lot of times when it comes to sexuality and things like that can pop up, we tend to just brush it under the rug instead of just addressing the elephant in the room in advance. So I think that's definitely a good one to add to the discussion, like, hey, you guys, I mean, you don't want to tell the kids like, hey, you might like each other, but you definitely want to let them know, like, I know this isn't the person you grew up with, but technically you're now siblings. And let's talk about this. Let's make sure we express each other. Let's be honest. Let's be open. So that way you don't have children one day that are getting married and having weird explanations to people.
Absolutely. So I think that should be added to the list. You know, you have to step into your children's shoes and realize that, okay, you and this partner of yours are in love and are all about your new family, but these children are not there yet. So you have to step into their shoes to realize what they might be experiencing or what they can expect. So you can, if that does arise, have that conversation in the beginning so that they know what to do to come to you when you start getting that feeling. That's a really good point. Yeah. Another thing that we spoke about is about discipline. Agree on discipline for the children now that they're blended. I think it was Teresa that spoke about, you know, her partner not being allowed to discipline. Was that right, Teresa? I can't remember.
No, he can if I'm not here and he needs to ground somebody, he's well within his rights to ground them. We don't do physical punishment.
Right.
But at the same time, there are limits to what he can do because he is not the real, I don't want to say real parental unit, but he's not the blood parental unit. And I don't, but this was in the beginning. We have been together some years now. So obviously he has more access. In the beginning, it was just like, no, you can't because they don't know you like that. And they have to, my children have to trust you just like you have to trust them. And I'm not comfortable with that. And he understood that. But as the years went on, it naturally fell into place. And then we had discussions and everybody chipped, like we all talked about it. Like, so if you get in trouble, Jason can ground you. Sorry, boo. He can ground you, or mom can ground you, and it's the same parental energy. Same.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you as well, Treese, that, you know, I don't believe in the corporal discipline. And if I think that has to be discussed, you know, are you comfortable with your new significant other, you know, spanking your child? And if not, then you need to have that conversation in the beginning and not until after it happens, because discipline is going to be an issue that needs to be spoke about. Yeah. Another thing I think you need to do in a blended family is that the other individual, the other party, such as the wife or the husband, needs to develop a relationship with the stepchildren. You need to get to know them and love them and appreciate them as much as your own children. Take time to take them out without your kids. Get to know their quirks, what makes them who they are as human beings. And as you're developing your new love with your significant other, don't forget that those new children also need to love you and respect you. So giving them some of your time, I think, is very, very important. What do you guys think on that?
Can I add something? I come from a blended family. It is super important that whoever the person is coming in, they need to make it clear to the kid that they are not just an add-on. Like, I love your mother, so you're here, so I got to deal with you too.
Right.
Don't do that, because you know what? We feel that. We know you don't really love us. We know you can't wait to have kids with our mom so y'all can have this family, and then I'm a satellite moon, like 32nd moon on Uranus or something. Like,
I get you. It's not funny, but it is. Yeah.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like, have a relationship with them, please, because it's really important. And as we watch y'all grow and we're left out, it doesn't help the situation. And you wonder why don't we talk? Well, let me tell you.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, that's all very, very important. But guess what, y'all?
What's up?
What?
It's time to go to break.
No, not again. Daggone, we need
Already.
2
I know, it was
hours.
so quick. That was so fast.
It
So
was.
we're gonna come back to this. But in the meanwhile, we have to go pay some bills. So everyone go grab your drinks. I need to replenish mine. Make sure while you're on your break, if you want to follow us, go to our YouTube channel, follow Brown Sugar Confessions, go to our Instagram, visit us everywhere on social media under Brown Sugar Confessions. And when you return, we're going to get back into this only on Power 1017. Welcome back, everybody, to Brown Sugar Confessions on Power 1017. So, we had some very interesting conversations. But before we get started, make sure you guys contact us if you have any questions. If you have any questions specifically for Dr. Val, reach her at valerie@swancenter.com. If you have any questions that you would like to be read on a show that you would like for us to answer, make sure you send your emails to brownsugarconfessions@gmail.com. Obviously, like, follow, share, all those things, all of us on Brown Sugar Confessions. You can find us on pretty much every social media platform. So we're going to get into it. I believe Miss T.
Man, y'all, okay. So, on this show, we're all about safety.
Right.
And we're also about the very strange, like from time to time, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got one for y'all.
Strange.
Yeah, this is a strange one. All right, here we go. Man's eggplant turns black and oozes smelly discharge after injecting it with cocaine. Yeah.
And why? Why?
I mean, cocaine is a hell of a drug. That's all I'm saying. But so you want to know where this guy might have come from?
Yeah, where'd he come from? Yeah, where was he?
Oh, you want to take a guess?
Florida.
It ain't Florida. I'll give you 2 more guesses.
California. That's got to be it.
Nah. Equally as weird sometimes, but not California.
Not California. I don't know where else they would be from. Texas?
Nah, not Texas. Not Texas. Oh, y'all are close though.
New York. I knew it. New York one.
All right. So, man in New York turned up into an ER because his eggplant started turning black and oozing a discharge because he injected it with cocaine. So essentially, when he came into the ER, he was in excruciating pain for 3 days after injecting himself into the main vein on his eggplant.
Wait. He did. Wait. What?
Yeah, you heard that correctly. So, eggplant. You know how like eggplants have like veins and curves and crevices. So he found the main vein, the biggest one, and he injected it into him. So apparently he did this. And then after 3 days is when his eggplant started turning black and ulcerating and oozing. And so he decided to go to the ER at this point. And then apparently this is not the first time he's done this, because he told the doctors that he had injected the drug into the vein at least twice in the past 2 weeks and had no problems.
Wow. So he had experience in injecting this into his eggplant. Yeah. That had to be excruciating painful.
I mean, I guess because it's the 3rd time. So I don't know if like his body just started necrotizing, like everything just started decomposing and decaying because this was in that space. And now it's like, now his eggplant is no longer usable, assuming. The doctors wanted him to go into surgery to get rid of like the dead tissue and material, and he refused. So they had to put him on antibiotics, and he was on antibiotics for like 5 days, and then they had to let him go because he wouldn't go through surgery. So we don't know what happened to this guy. Well, all I can say is if the guy is out there somewhere alive, hopefully, hope he's okay, but he probably should consider the surgery just to make sure that he can still use his eggplant in the future. And also, if you are one of these, I'm not going to say one of these, but if you are an individual and you are going through a relationship with hard substances, please consider getting help.
Please get help. Oh,
we don't want you on the news like this.
No, not like that. Ooh, that's horrible. And ooh, you should see our faces. Go to YouTube and watch us cringing. We're like, ooh, making all kinds of funky faces.
This man is literally walking around with dead wood.
Literal. And figurative.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Dead. That's a good pun.
But then it also makes me think about how much do we do to ourselves and think that it's okay, especially in terms like that.
Yeah, that's just a whole nother level of messed upness. I mean, get help, people. If you're having
is it
issues,
a kink?
Get help.
Like every time I think about this, I'm like, is this a kink?
That is her new question for everything now.
I am new to this game, y'all. I am new, so I'm questioning everything. Is that a kink? I got questions.
I got no answers. You see the drug and alcohol counselor. I got no answers.
I'm putting that on the shirt and I'm walking around. Is this
a kink? Yes. Is that a kink?
Is this a kink? Because
you should get a t-shirt that says that. But that's just
put that in the merch store.
Woo! Okay, well, so, and moving right along.
I know we're going to come back to this wholesome conversation of blended families.
Oh my God, Miss T, thank you for updating us. And hopefully this man his eggplant is okay and he's got his regular color of black in it, not walking around with a... Yeah, anyway, we're moving right along. Getting back into blended families, because I don't know what else to do after that point. Let's talk about it. So, if you followed us on last week, we talked about blended families, what it is, how to blend them. And so now we're going to finish this conversation because we had a couple of emails around blended families and what some actual steps that people wanted to take on how to blend their families. And what we're actually going to do with this particular episode is that if you send us your email, we're going to send you like our go-to points, our talking points on this one. That can be kind of a guide for you that will help you blend your families. All right. So we're going to send that out there. And I also might do a little video about some talking points on actual steps or action steps that you can take on how to blend your family. So that makes sense, guys. Can we do that for them?
That sounds good.
Yeah,
I think so. So, all right. So we're going to jump right back into it and talk more about some actual things that you can do to blend your families. I think one thing that you have to realize is that it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time for the relationships to blend and for everyone to feel like they have a place in the family. Because when you have your own individual families, right? You have that middle child. You might have an only child, the oldest child, the youngest child. Everyone kind of knows their place and who they are. And now you've got to blend. And now maybe the oldest child now is the baby or the middle. And so taking time now to readjust, to know where everyone fits in, I think is important as well. What do you guys think about that?
Time is important. Patience is important. More than patience, communication is important.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say playing favoritism, because as a parent, I would always play favoritism with if I'm blending like other kids and my kids, but just learning each other, really learning each other and not pretending, because guess what? The kids see through it, your neighbors see through it, everybody sees through it. Just do the dang work.
Do the work. Exactly. And give yourself permission to take time. It's going to take time for this new stepson to feel comfortable with your son, or your daughter comfortable with, being now the baby in the family before they were older, and where do they fit in now. So give everyone permission to grow. And just because you're in love doesn't mean instantly that they're going to be in love. Give them time, give them space, expect them. As I love what Tree said, patience. They need patience from the parents as they're learning how to adjust in the family. I think another really good important tip is prepare them for, how I want to say it. I talk about this a lot, and I think that this is one of the most important points for me to bring up. Prepare to talk about their values, attitudes, and beliefs in a blended family. When you have your own core set of values, your own set of attitudes and beliefs, and so does your mate. But your children might not share those same attitudes and values and beliefs, and the new kids in the life might not share. So I think something that we don't do is actually sit down. Okay, what is your value around losing your virginity? What is your value and attitudes and beliefs around being in the LGBTQ plus A community? What is your value and attitudes around, whatever, around money? Having those kinds of conversations, and actually, like, you could actually make a list and talk about your top 3 or 5, like my value around dating. When should we start dating as teenagers in the household? Or the value around working outside of the household. If both parents always work, but now one is home, what does that look like? So having those kind of conversations, I think, is really important, because now you're sharing with a new set of individuals that are now in your family member what theirs are as well, and include the kids in that conversation. That's actually a fun conversation to have. What do you guys think of that one?
Sounds like it would be an interesting conversation, especially if everyone has different opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Another one that I saw that I was like, oh, that makes sense, which is kind of common, but I think it's a common thing that you should do in all families, not just blended, but have household rules. Like, really have the rules set and make sure that they're posted for everyone to follow, and who's doing what. I think especially in blended families, you've got to take the time to have your household rules built around. Mm-hmm. And like, what are the consequences for not following the rule? For example, will you share bedrooms? Who will share the bathrooms? What about sports? What about curfews? All of those things you need to think about and have conversations around. Which house, like, will you guys move into? Or will you have a new house? The little ones doing chores, the older ones doing chores. All of those things I think we have to talk about when you're blending a family. Because if you're already have your core family, you're used to who's doing what in the house. But now with the blend, it's shifted. So I think having those also are something to talk about. What do you guys think about that one?
Mm.
I think it's
rules.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're like, go ahead. No, me too. So I think that having goals, having rules, having guidelines is good for any household, even if you aren't blending a family. I think when you're dealing with 2 separate individuals, plus having some sort of standards in place can definitely improve everyone's experience. Mm-hmm. And if going in, okay, well, this is what this person doesn't like, and this is what this person doesn't like, and this is how we're going to make sure that everyone can have their form of peace. I think that can absolutely make a easily terrible situation much, much better if you kind of go in and just plan in advance. Yeah.
Doc Val, I got a question for you.
What's that, Steve?
So I just thought about it earlier. So it might be a little weird, but just stick with me. So
all right, you always give me the weird stuff, Miss T. Always.
The weird stuff needs to be known. is what I'm saying.
All right, here we go. What is it?
So, say, okay, you got your blended family 1, family 2, they got kids, right?
Yeah.
So now all family and kids are all living in one household. Mm-hmm. What if child from family 1 and child from family 2, or it doesn't even have to be both of them. What if one kid like starts getting feelings for another kid? How does that work?
Oh my. That could be a show in itself, Miss T. Talking about if the two children catch feelings.
Especially because, like, say if the kids are teenagers, and teenagers get feelings. Okay, but either way, how does that work in a blended family? Like, is that discussed? And if that's discussed, who is that discussed by? Is that separate? Like, parent 1 from child 1 talks to that, or do they talk about it as a unit?
That sounds like a sit down conversation to me. I think everyone needs to be in a room. Grandma too.
It's like, how does that work? Because you'll be like, yeah, we kind of see that you guys kind of got a thing going on. Stop that, because you're related now.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
I think that, as you know, as KD said, that is something that, let's be honest, you're seeing more and more, especially on TikTok. I see a lot of this from the young teenagers talking about they liking their stepsister or they're liking their stepbrother. And of course, we've seen all these shows where they're, once they get 18, the stepkids are marrying each other. So we know it happens in real life. So this isn't a happen chance. It does actually happen in some blended families. I personally think you can't avoid, it's like the rabbit in the room. I think you've got to have a discussion around this subject. When the parents are noticing that these two children are seeming to have more feelings for each other than step siblings, I think the parents, first of all, have to sit down and say, have you noticed that, Johnny is into liking Sal a little bit more than he should be? And have that discussion among each other. And then I think you have to do the right thing and bring the children in and have a conversation around that. Because it's a fact, Miss T, it can very well come up. But I think the problem is if you don't think it could, and or you try to ignore it like it's going to go away. I think that's when you get drama in the family, when you try to ignore something like that.
Yeah, because I very much feel like that would be something that people would either try to ignore or think couldn't happen. And I feel like if you're going into a family, you got kids and your partner has kids, that might be something y'all might need to talk about. Figure, like, if this happens, we should probably do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it goes back to communication, because the family hasn't had a chance to bond yet. They're not sure of each other's roles, as we talked about. So there's feelings and emotions all over the place. So the parents, that are blending, they have to take the time to say, okay, we're all in love and we're going to start anew, but we've got our kids now. We have to sit down and really map out a strategy into how to help these kids now form a family bond. And you can't shy away from hard subjects like this. Of course, you hope they don't happen, but let's be honest, they're not connected. They don't love each other. So it very well could be. And if they're teenagers, they're hormonal, they're starting to experiment sexually, intimately. You must be comfortable, both parents, to have the communication around this subject. Don't shy away from it.
I do have another question. It might be a little dark, so I'm gonna throw out a
here we go. Dark and strange. All right, here we go.
Content warning. Content warning, potential abuse. I will put that out there. So listeners, if you're listening to this and you're like, you know what, I don't want to be triggered today, just kind of like walk away for a couple minutes and then come back. What if, and I think this is something that has to be spotted before you get into a deep relationship with someone who might have kids if you're trying to do a blended family? Because I've heard of this kind of thing happening. Not like, it has not happened to me, but I've heard of this thing happening where you might end up in a blended family and your partner is taking advantage of the children.
Okay, taking advantage. Taking advantages, and what do you mean by taking advantage?
Taking advantage in a way of a sexual nature.
Okay, so you're asking, what if you see that your significant other that you just married,
or like say for example, if your child comes to you and says that your partner has been taking advantage of them.
Okay, here's what I say, and I say believe the child until you know differently.
Okay,
and keep that child safe. I am under the belief, and professionally and personally, that if this child comes to you, the spouse that has done the harm should leave immediately until until the child has been heard, until authorities have come in. That's where you're going to go with that, which I hope many do. But I would say believe the child and protect the child. That's what I say. I've heard so many people say, well, they don't want us together. What if, they're lying? My go-to, believe the child. Don't hurt children, period. Now I'm going to get pushback on that, and that's okay. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. But my go-to is the child must be protected. I believe them until I've heard it.
And I agree with that. And I also think and this is from my worldview perspective, that when people get into relationships, sometimes they just want to be in a relationship so much that they ignore the red flags.
Absolutely.
They ignore the red flags until it's too late. And now they don't want to get out of the relationship. So they're willing to do anything and everything just to stay in a relationship, even if it's at the expense of their children.
Exactly. I've heard of many cases, from individuals that have, sexual trauma from being in step families where they weren't believed, and they were abused, and the trauma lasts them to adulthood. It's unfortunate. It is a part of the society in which we live, and my go-to is always believe the child, protect the child. And it's really hard to say about red flags. A master manipulator, a master perpetrator might not always show the red flags that you see on CSI or some other shows. So do your homework, look at the red flags, use your motherly or fatherly intuition about how you're feeling your gut around this person. The children must be protected at all cost. And again, that's my go-to, and I've said it now probably 8 times, but you get my point.
Yeah, and like we said before, communication is key, and I think ultimately, especially when you're trying to blend a family, you just want to make sure everyone is safe.
Absolutely.
Your lover is safe, your children are safe, everybody is able to have a good relationship, hopefully, especially if everybody's in the same living space. So if nothing else, if you guys are having a blended family, reach out to us. Tell us your experience about having a blended family, because, we're here for it. We want to hear these things. So brownsugarconfessions.com, like and subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Say hi to us.
That's right. Absolutely. Send it in. Let us know tips that we can share about this list together. And we want to add your comments to this list about things that you've done successfully in your family and how it works, because as a community, we can all help each other. And it is a community of blended families. So let's talk about it and think of things that we could do so that they're very fruitful and people are living their best authentic lives in this new blended families. I think another thing that's really important is, and I know we don't talk about this a lot in blended families, You cannot avoid the ex. Don't do it. You need to talk about the ex. Whether it's child support, be it them picking up the child, dropping off the child, all of those things that go into the ex. You need not to dance around that subject. And oftentimes, and the fairness of being new and being happy and blissful again, because you've got a new partner, you forget you still got to deal with that old, well, we talked about dead wood earlier, but that old wood.
But I think that is something we are going to have to talk about on another day. Doc Val, it is time for us to get to moving.
Oh no, again, I know. You know what? We just get into the meat of this and we have to stop our conversation. But as I've said, we're going to put a list together. We're going to have it out there for you guys. So email us if you want this list. We're also going to put it on our Facebook page. So you can get it from there as well. But every Wednesday, you catch us here on Brown Sugar Confessions at 11 o'clock on Power 101. And if you're not catching us live, then go to our YouTube, because on Thursdays, we replay the show on YouTube at Brown Sugar Confessions. And you don't want to miss next week's show, because next week we're going to talk about soul ties. I was interviewed by Cosmopolitan. We're going to talk about that article, and we're going to talk about soulmates. And you know what we say, stay safe, play safe out there. We're Brown Sugar Confessions, and we'll see you next week, guys. Bye-bye.